So today we're going to be thinking about the chemical basis of life. So don't forget to follow along with your worksheet as you watch this video. So why are we studying chemistry in an anatomy and physiology class? Well, the reason is biology has chemistry at its foundation. In other words, taking a look at this diagram, these are the elements that are commonly found in the human body. In order to understand the physiology, or how the body works, we also have to think about this on a very small level, thinking about molecules, thinking about chemistry and elements. In order to understand how the body works on a large scale, we need to understand how these tiny particles work as well. So today we're going to be thinking about kind of the basics of chemistry. If you've had chemistry recently, this might be a bit of a review, but if you haven't, hopefully this will bring you up to speed. So everything is made of matter. Matter is made of atoms, and atoms are made of three subatomic particles: protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons have a mass of 1. So when we're thinking about mass from a scientific perspective, this doesn't change regardless of gravitational pull. Weight, on the other hand, does. So for example, your weight on Earth will be different than your weight on the moon. Your mass, however, remains the same. So protons have a mass of 1. They're also positively charged. Their location is in the nucleus, in other words, right in the center of an atom. Neutrons also have a mass of 1, and like their name suggests, their charge is neutral, or 0. Their location is also in the nucleus of an atom. Electrons have a mass that's so small that for the purposes of this class, we can just call it 0. They have a negative charge, and they're found orbiting the nucleus. So different kinds of atoms are really just different elements. So let's take a look at a specific example here. Here we have the element helium. Helium has an atomic number of 2. The atomic number will tell you the number of protons that an element has. The atomic mass, in this case for helium, is 4. So take a look at your worksheet. Which two subatomic particles make up the mass of an element? Protons and neutrons. So if the atomic mass of helium is 4, and we know there are 2 protons, how many neutrons must there be? 2. 2 protons plus 2 neutrons equals an atomic mass of 4. So off to the left are different ways in which atoms can be represented. We could have the planetary model, which is kind of like the Earth orbiting the sun, or the electron cloud model. So everywhere in blue are where electrons might exist, but they're constantly circulating the nucleus. So let's take a look at another example. Carbon, for example. Carbon has 6 protons and 6 neutrons. Remember, both of those are found in the nucleus of an atom. Both of those are also containing a mass of 1. So 6 plus 6 equals 12. Remember that electrons have a mass that's so small that we don't calculate it for the atomic mass. And those electrons are circulating the nucleus. So you may or may not have seen some form of this diagram, and that's the periodic table of elements. These are all the elements that have so far been characterized. So the structure of an atom determines how it behaves. So as we just discussed, the number of protons is equivalent to the atomic number. However, this also tells you the number of electrons. For any element on the periodic table, the number of protons is equivalent to that of the number of electrons. The reason is any element on the periodic table has an overall charge of 0. Positive protons cancels out the negative electrons. All atoms of an element have the same properties. In other words, they're all going to behave the same way. So every carbon that you see behaves on a molecular level the same way. Those properties don't change. So let's practice here. Which atom has 6 protons? Correct answer is carbon. So you'll notice again that there's 2 numbers here. That smaller number is always going to be the atomic number, which is equivalent to the number of protons. The larger number is always going to be the atomic mass, which is equivalent to the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. How about this one? How many protons does oxygen have? Oxygen has 8 protons. So life requires roughly 25 chemical elements. Specifically, there are 4 major elements that make up almost all of living matter, about 96%. Those elements are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. We can also see another 4% making up atoms like phosphorus, calcium, sulfur, potassium, magnesium, chlorine, and sodium, and then some trace elements like iodine, iron, and selenium. So watch the next video to understand how chemical reactions occur.